Is the food and dining aboard Virgin Voyages Brilliant Lady really as good as everybody says it is? Hey everybody, welcome back to Cruise Report. I'm Chris. I'm going to take you through every single thing, pretty much every single thing we ate on board Brilliant Lady. We just got off a 9-night Alaska cruise. This is our 154th cruise, and it was our 8th time to sail in Alaska. Every time we've been on a different cruise line, I believe. And so let's talk about the food. That's something everybody wants to talk about. I made a separate video of this because it's a little more in depth. There are a lot of dining choices on board these Virgin Voyages ships. They have 4 ships. They're all virtually identical. So anything I talk about in this review, this dining review, is going to be pretty much the same for any Virgin Voyages ship. Now, that said, food and dining reviews, very, very subjective. Everybody has different tastes. Everybody has a different view of, you may love something that I absolutely hate. I will tell you right now, I'm kind of a carnivore. I like meat. Ricky will eat meat, but she's a very picky eater. She really has a little bit more limited range of her dining experience than I do. For example, I'll eat Indian food. I'll eat spicy, really hot, spicy, exotic foods, and she's a little less adventuresome in those regards. Let's talk first about the casual dining options. One thing's unique about these Virgin Voyages ships, they don't have a buffet like a traditional cruise ship. They have instead a venue called the Galley. Now, if you've been on the internet, you're into cruising, you're probably already familiar with this concept. It basically is like a group of food stalls with different themes. And so you have the Noodle Around Bento Baby, which is pre-made bento boxes of sushi and other Japanese foods. The Daily Mix, which is like salad bar. In the mornings they have bagels. Diner and Dash, which is where in the mornings you get your scrambled eggs, your bacon, sausage, all your traditional breakfast items. In the afternoons, Diner and Dash will have a variety of different dishes. Hot Off the Press is like a panini sandwich place that also has excellent avocado toast. I've had that a couple of times on this trip. The Burger Bar, which is where obviously you get your burgers. Let's Taco About It, which is their Mexican taco place. And they also have some breakfast items too, like burritos with chorizo and eggs, a really good breakfast burrito. And then there's the sweet side, which is kind of their dessert area for your sweets. They also have fresh fruit in the mornings. The Galley is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you can pretty much go there all day long throughout the day. On this trip, it was very crowded. It was extremely crowded, and part of that's because we were in Alaska, cold weather. They do have outdoor seating, but you couldn't sit outside because it was, 40 degrees. So most everybody was forced inside to dine, and there just simply weren't enough tables. They did put a lot of the overflow seating into the Gunbae restaurant, which is their Korean restaurant. It's at the back of the ship behind the Galley. So a lot of people were taking their food in there to eat just because you couldn't find a place to sit. One thing we really like about the Galley is that they serve you your food. You do not have to grab utensils like you would in a cruise ship buffet. It's much more sanitary. It's a much more sanitary system. In fact, there's a couple of different ways you can get food in the Galley. You can walk up to, let's say, Let's Talk About It, and you can order something, and if they have it available, they'll give it to you right then. Or you have a little flag on your table you can flip up, and a waiter will come by and take your order and bring it to you. Now, we did that because there were so many seats already taken, that once you found a place to sit, you didn't want to get up and go get some food, because by the time you get back, your seat would be gone. The food there is pretty good. I had a cheeseburger, very good cheeseburger. I wouldn't say it's the best I've ever had on a cruise ship, but it's certainly in the top 10, top 5 maybe. Good, really good French fries, very hot, very crisp. All of the breakfast items I had were good. So we're going to give the Galley a 4 out of 5 rating. I think it's better than most of the buffets you're going to find on any cruise ship, even though it's not a buffet. Now, another casual option that's available throughout the day is found on the dock, which is on deck 7, aft on deck 7. There's an outer deck where you can sit outside and view the landscape, or there's actually the dock house, which is indoors where they have some entertainment things. And you can actually order from a very limited menu of like little small dishes, like some kebabs, some shrimp. And I found these dishes to be very good. They're simple, they're very fast, they bring it to you very quickly, they do take your order. Everything we tried was pretty darn good. I rate the dock a 4 out of 5. Now, another thing they were doing on Brilliant Lady on this cruise, and I'm not sure if this is something they do on every cruise, I don't remember this from Scarlet Lady 3 years ago, and that's called Golden Hour. And it's kind of like a happy hour where in the dock and the dock house, they kind of wander through with little plates, little tastings. They have like 4 or 5 different things they'll bring you, and just something to nibble on while you're having a drink. Now, to my knowledge, there's no special deal on the drinks. It's not like a happy hour where it's 2 for 1 on the drinks or anything like that. That was kind of a neat little feature. I think it goes from 3:30 in the afternoon till 5:30. Let me know in the comments down below if they do this on all of the Virgin Voyages ships, because we did not remember this from Scarlet Lady. I'm going to give the Golden Hour 5 out of 5 because I wasn't expecting it. I think it's a little extra something that you get that you don't get on a lot of cruise ships anymore. Now, the social club is another snack dining area. They have popcorn throughout the day. They have some nuts, and they have like a little thing sitting out on the counter you can just walk up and grab. At some times of the day, there's a person back there that will make you a hot dog, or they have chicken wings. They have a few different things. Now, this I'm only going to give 3 out of 5. Ricky had a hot dog one day. The hot dog was okay. I had the wings, and the wings were not good. They tasted like they'd been sitting there a long time. They were kind of dry. They just didn't have any flavor at all. So I'm only going to give the social club dining a 3 out of 5. Now, for morning coffee, you can get free coffee up in the Galley anytime, 24 hours a day, I believe. But if you want the real thing, you want the really good coffee, you have to go to the Grounds Club, and that's on deck 7 midship. That's where I would go every morning to sit and work on my computer, do my blog, and have my cup of Americano. Now, they have raised the price of their drinks. When I was on Scarlet Lady 3 years ago, an Americano was $4. Now it's $5. One little insider tip you may not know. You can get a large Americano for the same price as the small. So go ahead and order a large. So I would get a large Americano every day. Now, one thing about it, they have this long work table where you can sit and get work done. And it has USB ports, power ports, really well designed. It's a great place if you take a laptop with you and you like to work while you're on a trip. Or if you're like me and you have to work while you're on a trip, it's a really good environment for that. So I'm going to give the Grounds Club a 5 out of 5. I think for an onboard coffee place, I much prefer the coffee to, say, Starbucks on NCL ships. I don't like Starbucks coffee. I did like the coffee that they serve at the Grounds Club. And there's also a second Ground Club, I think they call it Grounds Club 2, up in the Galley. So if you want a real coffee, like an Americano or a cappuccino or whatever these fancy drinks you guys get, they'll have it up there or down on deck 7. They also have a very large selection of pastries in the morning that are complimentary. In fact, they have them all throughout the day. And this is where you'll find cookies in the afternoon. This is where they'll have the cookies, but they have croissants, almond croissants, chocolate croissants. I think they even have a ham and cheese croissant. Everything very good, and it's complimentary. You don't have to pay for the pastries. The pastries are complimentary. You just simply pay for the coffee drinks. Now there is a Sun Club Cafe up on deck 16. And I swore after my Scarlet Lady cruise that if I ever went back on Virgin, I would try the Sun Club Cafe. And it made a liar out of me. I did not try the Sun Club Cafe. The menu up here is a little strange. They have small bites. Here's my question for Virgin Voyages. This is a British cruise line. Why no fish and chips? Why do you not take that Sun Club Cafe and turn it into a fish and chip restaurant? I love fish and chips. Ricky loves fish and chips. Everybody loves fish and chips, and it's a British cruise line. Replace the Sun Club Cafe with a fish and chips restaurant. After this break, I'm going to come back, and now I'm going to go through all of the specialty dining restaurants on board, and I think my reviews might disappoint some people. Hey everybody, welcome back to my food and dining review of Brilliant Lady after our 9-night cruise in Alaska. I'm going to go through our specialty restaurants. We ate at every specialty restaurant on the ship. These are going to be my opinions based on the experiences we had. I think it's going to piss a lot of people off because I know some of you guys love Virgin Voyages, and I've got to tell you, quite honestly, the food and dining I don't think was at the same level that it was 3 years ago when we were on Scarlet Lady. I don't like saying that, but I have to give you my honest opinion. Now, there's a good news here and there's not so good news. I'm going to go chronologically through all of the specialty restaurants we ate at. The first night we ate at Pink Agave. This is their Mexican restaurant. Kind of a weird menu and a very limited menu. I don't think there's that much choice. The place was very chaotic, very busy, and very noisy. The service was good, but it felt rushed. It felt like the dishes, when they cleared the plates, they were bringing the next dish right on. So it was almost like they were wanting to get us to eat and move us out so they could get somebody else to take the table. Maybe that was just my imagination. We were not big fans. Now, on the good side, I think the guacamole was very good. I think it's called esquites, and this is a grilled corn. Very good dish. And those were kind of the highlights. We had the shrimp with the mole sauce. Didn't have much flavor. I also had the marinated pork, which Ricky, I think, had on our last cruise, and I thought it was pretty good. This time I had that dish, and it was very fatty. There was a lot of fat. And in fact, I got a whole mouthful of fat on one bite. It's in a sauce, so you couldn't really tell if you were eating fat or meat. Ricky got the chicken enchilada, I believe, and it was cold. This is a problem we had recurring in a lot of the restaurants. The food came out, I'd say room temperature, not cold, but room temperature. It was not hot. We didn't even stay for dessert. I'm going to be generous and give Pink Agave a 3 out of 5. The second place we dined was at Rojo, which is, if you're familiar with Razzle Dazzle on Scarlet Lady, they've turned that space into, they still refer to it as Razzle Dazzle, the space, but each of the ships now are going to have a themed restaurant, a different theme. On Brilliant Lady, it's called Rojo, and it's like a Spanish tapas style restaurant. I love the decor of what they've done here, much better than Razzle Dazzle. Razzle Dazzle on Scarlet Lady was just in your face. They've really toned down the decor in this space. This was one of our favorite restaurants. Rojo is open for brunch and dinner. You do need reservations, but we walked in a couple of times for brunch and we never had trouble getting a table. Let me talk about the brunch first. In our case, it was breakfast because we would go about 8 o'clock in the morning. One of the best breakfasts we've had on, is that the right way to say breakfasts? Breakfasts. One of the best breakfast meals we've had on a cruise ship. I would get eggs ordered over medium. I would say 9 times out of 10, most cruise ships and restaurants, not just cruise ships, most restaurants will either overcook or undercook those eggs. They're either runny or they're hard. We ate there, I think, 4 times for breakfast. My eggs came out perfect over medium every time. I can't remember that ever happening. They also have incredible bacon in the morning. It's a kind of a smoky bacon with a sweet glaze on it and a little spicy. Like maybe you put a little cayenne on it, so it's got a spicy, smoky, sweet taste. Ricky tried the gazpacho one day for breakfast, and it was also very good. So everything we had at Rojo on the brunch menu was very good. I do think $7 for a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice was a little abusive. Now let's talk about Rojo for dinner. We ate here twice. We had 2 reservations. Now this is when it becomes kind of like a Spanish tapas style restaurant where you can get a variety of small plates that you can share. 2 people can share. The jamon Iberico, the ham, the prosciutto style ham, excellent, very good. The conservas, which is like a platter of olives and peppers and almonds and beets. Ricky had that one night. She liked it. She didn't care for the beets because they were kind of a smoky flavor, and she doesn't like smoky. She doesn't like that smoke flavor, but still it was good. The shrimp with fennel was probably one of the weaker dishes, just not a lot of flavor. The jamon croquettes, same thing. I tried those the first night. Jamon is ham. I didn't see any ham anywhere in the croquette. It just tasted kind of like a hush puppy to me, kind of like a mushy hush puppy. The oxtail montadito, I hope I'm saying that right, that was the highlight as far as the starters or the tapas. This was braised oxtail on a crostini with melted cheese on top. Looks absolutely disgusting. It's very unappealing looking, but it is delicious. I already told you I tried the roasted cauliflower. I think it's an interesting dish. It was okay. It's kind of sweet. The beef tartare was good. Ricky had it the first night. We found it to be a little chewy, almost a little tough. Pimenton cheese with crostini, a little strong cheese flavor. And we did not try the octopus. Everybody raves about the octopus. Ricky and I are just not octopus fans, really not big seafood fans, even though she did have the roasted cod, which I think was one of their Alaska specialties that they have in Alaska, and she said it was very good. It was on like a bed of chickpeas, and it was supposed to have an olive tapenade on top, but it didn't have the tapenade, but it was still very good. The baby back ribs, I had them twice. Excellent. Probably the best ribs I've ever had on a cruise ship. Really, really good. The second night we went, I also tried the grilled ribeye, which personally I thought was the best steak I had on the ship. Cooked perfectly medium, like I ordered it. I didn't care for the tomato red pepper salsa stuff they put on top of the steak. I don't think it needed it. We did have one dessert. It was like a creme brulee they brought us one night to share. Excellent. Very good. We loved Rojo. 4.5 out of 5 for Rojo. Almost a 5. Almost a solid 5 for Rojo. I told you there was going to be good and bad. Rojo good. The wake, bad. The wake. This is the second time we've had a bad experience at the wake. When we ate the wake on Scarlet Lady, we were very disappointed because we had heard such great things about it. It's one of the most popular restaurants on the ship. It's their steakhouse. Beautiful location at the back of the ship. We had a perfect table with a view of the wake of the ship, which is why it's called the wake. So we had really high hopes that, okay, we're going to try it again. We had a bad experience on Scarlet Lady, but maybe it was a one-off. Maybe we just had hit it on a bad night. I ordered this same thing I ordered on Scarlet Lady because I wanted to compare. I wanted to know, was it just a one-off thing? I ordered the New York strip. Ricky ordered the filet, okay? How do you screw up a filet, right? I started out with the clam chowder, which was very good, I will say. The clam chowder was excellent. Ricky had a wedge salad, which she enjoyed. The bread that they bring to the table, Very good, kind of a pull-apart bread with just really, really nice with some special butters. But then the steaks show up. My steak was cooked fine, medium, but room temperature. It was cold. How? How could it be cold? We were one of the first ones there. Was it pre-cooked before we got there? I don't know how that's even possible. Ricky's fillet, hand to God, was so tough she couldn't cut it. How do you have a tough fillet? I've never had. I cook steak. I eat a lot of steak, and I cook a lot of steak. I cook here at the house. I buy steaks at Costco. Sometimes I get them at Walmart. I cook filet, and you can usually cut it with a fork. This steak was so tough, and it was cold. One of the managers came by to ask us how our meal was. And Ricky told him. She said, I can't cut this. I can't cut it. And it's cold. He said, I'll replace it. And he did. He took it back to the kitchen, brought out a brand new fillet, and gave her a new knife, which was sharper. And she was able to cut that one. It was still a little undercooked. A very thick steak, by the way. But it was better. And she was able to eat part of that steak. My New York strip was about like I remembered it was from Scarlet Lady. Meh. Not a fan. Nothing compared to the Bistecca Fiorentina on Viking Ocean. That's the best steak of any cruise ship I've ever been on. Second best cruise steak I've had would have been on Celebrity Beyond. The New York strip is an aged New York strip, and you could tell it was aged by the flavor. But I've had much better steaks than this. Now, you tell me in the comments. I know I'm going to get a lot of grief in the comments because a lot of you love the Wake. Everybody we talked to around us as we were standing in line, this is their favorite restaurant. It's hard to get a reservation there because it's so popular. It's the most popular restaurant on the Virgin ships. But we've had 2 cases now where we've eaten at the Wake. You let me know in the comments, what has your experience been at the Wake? I guarantee you most people are going to comment, say they've had a wonderful meal at the Wake. They love the Wake. We got it on our last cruise, on the last video I did. Everybody commented how much they loved the Wake. We won't be back. In fact, we canceled our second reservation. We had a second reservation at the Wake and we canceled it. For us, the Wake, 3 out of 5. And I'm being generous because the clam chowder was so good. Our next dining experience was the test kitchen. Now, the test kitchen is a unique dining experience. It's like a laboratory environment where everything is it's a set menu. They do have 3 different menus that they rotate throughout the cruise. I think every 3 or 4 days they change the menu. They have an A menu, a B menu, and a C menu. We were on the B menu, and I wasn't too excited when I saw eel as the first thing on the menu because I've always never wanted to try eel. I thought, I've never tried it. I never wanted to try it. To me, it just kind of sounds disgusting, even the word. They also offer a vegetarian menu along with a meat menu. So you got 2 ways to go. You can select either one or you can mix and match. The eel I did try. I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. It was okay. It had kind of a teriyaki, kind of a sweet glaze to it. It kind of tasted like a fish. It was okay. I wouldn't order it again because I didn't think it was that good. But it wasn't as disgusting as I thought it was going to be. They also had an eggplant dish that was prepared exactly like the eel dish, but with eggplant for the vegetarians. Now, the scallop dish I thought was just okay. I've had better scallops. I didn't particularly care for the way they were prepared. Ricky had the vegetable. She doesn't like scallops. She had this vegetable papillote. I don't know how you say that, papillote. Like a paper thing filled with different vegetables, and she loved it. She said it was really good. The cheese tart, I'm not a blue cheese guy. Ricky likes blue cheese. I don't. And it had a very blue cheese forward profile. So I didn't particularly, I ate a little bit of it because they brought this bread with it that was absolutely amazing. It was like a hot little flaky bread, and so I was able to put the cheese on there and eat it and get through it, but the bread was the highlight, not the tart. And then for our main course, we both had the study of chicken. I don't know what they mean by the study of chicken. It was basically some sliced chicken breast, perfectly cooked, by the way, very juicy, very tender. And then like a little square of chicken thigh with some chicken sausage and chicken breast on top. It was some kind of a mash. I don't remember now what it was, but it was good. But the highlight, the best thing we had at the test kitchen was the dessert. And I'm not a dessert eater. I'm just not. Ricky is. I'm not. But they brought us this yuzu meringue, almost like a lemon tart, and it was unbelievable. Probably one of the best desserts I've ever eaten. So for that reason, we're going to give the test kitchen 4.5 out of 5 because it's so unique, it's so different. I think it's something you'd probably only want to do once per cruise. Now, if they rotate the menu, maybe you'd want to try it twice. But I think you should try it at least once because we like the service, we like the uniqueness of it, and it just kind of it's something everybody should try at least once. Now for our biggest disappointment. Extra Virgin was our next restaurant we tried. This was one of our favorite restaurants on Scarlet Lady. And I got to tell you, this was a completely different experience. The first time we ate on Scarlet Lady, we had a nice table for two, and it was in a different area of the restaurant where it wasn't so close proximity to another table. This time we ate like at a long bench where they have a bunch of different tables for two, and they're only like 10 or 12 inches apart. So you almost feel like you're eating with the people sitting next to you. I really prefer a table for two that has some separation so you can have a conversation. You don't feel like you're at a table for four. This kind of felt like we were sitting at a table for four because you can hear everything your neighbors are saying and they can hear everything you're saying. So that was kind of the start of this experience. But they bring focaccia bread to the table with olive oil and balsamic, which is very good. Bread was very good. They've changed the menu. They got rid of the fried calamari, which I had the first time and I loved it. It was very good. And they got rid of the spatchcock chicken, which Ricky had and said it was one of the best chicken dishes she'd ever had. We did get the Misty platter, which is kind of the salami and the cheeses and all that. That was good. It was okay. I did get the braised meatballs. That was the only dish that came to the table hot, were the meatballs. Everything else that came to the table was room temperature. We had temperature problems on this cruise with food. Ricky got the ricotta gnudi, which is one of their pasta dishes, and honestly, it had no flavor. It was like a little mushy ball. I don't even know why they call it a pasta. It didn't look like a pasta, it didn't taste like a pasta. I also tried the mushroom fettuccine, which I had seen in another YouTube video everybody raved about. Mine came out room temperature, wasn't hot. It was like it had been plated 30 minutes earlier, sat under a heat lamp maybe, and it had kind of solidified into one big, I had to really dig at it with a fork to kind of break it up because the mushroom sauce had kind of solidified around the pasta. Pasta was cooked okay, it just wasn't hot. It was room temperature. So that would have been a good dish had it been served fresh. I also had the braised pork cheek, which I had had on Scarlet Lady. Honestly, I didn't think this one had any flavor. This one just didn't have anything. And the table's just too close together. So we're only going to give Extra Virgin a 3 out of 5. So you let me know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts on Extra Virgin? Have you had a better experience? I hope you had a better experience than we did. Okay, the next day, we didn't even go to dinner at a restaurant. It was like Sunday afternoon. We just decided we wanted to have a pizza. So we went to the pizza place. Now, I had a pizza on Scarlet Lady, and I thought it was very good. This one, not as good as I remembered. It was a little undercooked on the bottom. The dough, it felt a little doughy. It did not have that crisp crust on the bottom. I like the pizza place because I like that they have a wide variety of toppings and they make them to order. Other than that, I think that's probably a one-off. I I'm going to go ahead and give the pizza place 3.5 out of 5. So the last specialty restaurant we ate at, which was on the last night of the cruise, was Gunbae. And Gunbae is their Korean barbecue restaurant. Interesting thing about Gunbae, no trouble getting a reservation. Any night of the week, anytime you could get a reservation there, no problem. So it's not very popular. You couldn't get a reservation at the Wake, you couldn't get one at Extra Virgin, you couldn't get one at Pink Agave, but you could at Gunbae and you could at the Test Kitchen. So those two restaurants were not very popular. Gunbae, I'm telling you right now, is a hidden gem. This is the most undiscovered gem on Virgin Voyages ships. Now, normally when you go to Gunbae, you'll sit at a table with 4 or 6 people. Since the restaurant was so empty, it wasn't even half full when we went. We asked if we could have a table just to ourselves because I wanted to do some video and some pictures, and I didn't like, sometimes it's not comfortable doing that with other people at the table because they don't want to be in the video or they don't want to be in the photo. And they accommodated us. They gave us a table with just the 2 of us, but the tables are designed for a group, and it's more fun in a group. The place can get very rowdy, very noisy, very boisterous, but since there weren't that many people in the restaurant on this evening, it wasn't too bad. Gunbae has a massive menu, a lot of different choices. If you've never tried Korean barbecue, you really should, because it's very good. They start out with a bunch of pickled starters like kimchi, and I think there's a pickled bean sprouts and a couple of other vegetables, and I tried every one of them, and every one of them was good. These are cold plates. These are not hot dishes. We ordered the fried chicken. I don't remember the name of it. I'll put it on the screen. The fried chicken, which are just like little chunks of deep fried to perfection and tossed in kind of a sweet sauce. You can make a meal on the chicken alone, on that fried chicken. It's that good. And then they had another dish which was like a braised beef short rib that was incredible. The next time we go to Gunbae, we'll just get the chicken and the braised short rib. That was it. We'd be full with all the pickled starters and all that. That's a meal right there. But we didn't stop there. They brought us a kimchi pancake, which, by the way, was served hot. All of the hot dishes we got at Gunbae came out of the kitchen hot, or the galley. We didn't have the issue with food temperature at Gunbae that we had at some of the other restaurants. We didn't have that issue at Rojo either. And then they bring out these platters of pork belly with beef and shrimp, and then I ordered the beef bulgogi, and these are things that are cooked at the table. Now, you don't cook it yourself. Your waiter comes and cooks at the table. Everything was delicious. It was amazing. Very flavorful, very fresh, very good. Everything was hot. They also bring you rice, and they have a little drinking game they play with you with some like soju, which is like a sake, like a Korean sake. It's a fun place. The food is excellent. The service was excellent. That's the restaurant you need to try. It's really, really good. Okay. What is our overall assessment? Oh, and Gunbae, by the way, gets a 5 out of 5. That was our best dining experience, with Rojo being a very close second. Take it for what it's worth. Let me know in the comments what you think of Gunbae if you've been there. Overall assessment, too many items came to us cold, or what I should say room temperature. They weren't hot, which we have a real issue with. But there's a lot of great choices for dining. You can always go to the Galley, and even the Galley has a evening special, dinner special. One night they had beef Wellington, and it looked amazing. So they have a different special every night at the Galley. Specialty dining is a good value. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Remember, we're also Virgin Voyages affiliates. If you do decide to book a cruise directly with Virgin Voyages, I'll put a link in the description of this video where if you want to support the channel, you can book it through that link. Won't cost you anymore. If you're using a travel agent, you can ignore that. Just use your travel agent. But if you plan on booking direct, we'd appreciate it if you use the affiliate link. If not, that's okay too. Anyway, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you put your comments in down below. If you have any questions about dining. We did not try room service, by the way. They do have a pretty extensive room service menu. We did not try the room service. I apologize for that. So thanks for joining me today. Until I see you on the next Cruise Report review, smooth sailing.